Welcome to Badminton Unlimited, your weekly access to badminton action and beyond. This week, we talk to Indonesia's Adrian Ferari, who is hoping to make an impact on the women's singles scene. And we report on the work done by Badminton Canada to raise the status of the sport in the country. Although not at the same level as its past achievements, Indonesia continues to be one of the world's badminton powerhouses. In the doubles format, it boasts the likes of Asian champions Muhammad Hassan and Hendra Setiawan, and three-time All-England winners Liliana Natsir and Tontowi Ahmad. However, a dearth of top-class shuttlers in the solo events has hurt the country's ability to truly dominate the scene. In the past, the women's game had the talent of world beater Susi Susanti to call upon, as she racked up trophies at a startling rate, including badminton's first Olympic gold. Since then, players have been trying to emulate those kind of successes. Adrian Ferari, one of the new crop of Indonesian shuttlers aiming for the top, grew up inspired by her childhood idol.
Waktu masih kecil tuh.
When I was young, I remembered watching Susi Susanti become an Olympic champion. I wanted to be like her. I wanted to become serious and be a badminton player.
Seriusin gitu kan.
In the country's bustling capital, Jakarta, recently, Badminton Unlimited sat down with the 28-year-old whilst she was competing at the BCA Indonesia Open. She started off by telling us about the importance her family played in setting her off on her badminton journey.
Pertamanya itu mulai badminton dari umur 8 tahun.
I started playing badminton when I was 8 years old. My father, who was a coach at that time, guided me. He brought me to his training sessions at a small club in Aceh, where my family home was. That was where it all began. I am an offensive player. From young, I was taught by my father to play this way. He told me my smashes have to be powerful, and I should be the one finishing off points.
At a local club, Adrianti enjoyed playing both singles and doubles. But her talent really began to reveal itself in the singles format, and in 2002, she was brought into the national setup to train in the solos.
Dulu pas masih di klub masih kecil itu, saya main dua, single sama double.
When I was young and still playing for my local club, I played both the doubles and singles. In both events, I actually won a lot in the junior tournaments. But I was selected into the national team as a singles player. And until now, I enjoy the feeling of playing and winning on my own abilities. Sometimes I do wonder what could have been if I had chosen doubles. Would I have been better or even worse? Nobody would have guessed. I enjoy playing with a partner, but only during trainings.
Ikutan main double gitu.
3 years later, a teenaged Adrianti won her first title at the New Zealand Open, before following it up with the gold medal at the biennial Southeast Asian Games. Although almost a decade ago, it still remains a major moment for her, especially with the lack of Indonesian success in women's singles.
Saya waktu pertama kali bisa juara di
When I first became a champion in 2005 at the SEA Games in Manila, Philippines, I was just 19 years old. I was young and managed to win. It probably kicked things off, and it was an experience I can't forget until now. In the past, we were good, but the regeneration hasn't quite happened. Now, it's even more difficult with many opting out of the singles game. Many of them prefer to play in the doubles. Maybe they think that with a partner, it's easier and singles is just too tough. Trying to find fresh talents, especially for the women's singles, hasn't been easy.
Shouldering the responsibility as one of the few leading singles players for her country has taken its toll. Apart from her Dutch Open title in 2006, Adrianti has found success hard to come by. It was only last year that Adrianti finally won her third senior title at the Yonex Sunrise Indonesia Masters.
Udah lama juga.
It's been a long time since an Indonesian women's singles player won a title, be it at the World Superseries or Grand Prix Gold. Last year, when I became a champion on home soil, I was very happy and didn't think I could win. These days, everyone is on the same level. The Chinese now can't win every time. It's unpredictable now. It could be any player from Spain, India, Japan, or Thailand.
Sekarang jadi Thailand.
Adrianti is hoping to make an impact next year on the biggest stage, the Rio Olympics. She has already had a taste at the 2012 London Summer Games, so she knows all too well the hard work this goal demands.
Mungkin itu salah satu target.
That's the target for all badminton players in the world. Next year will be the Olympics. I want to get there, but it will not be easy because there are qualification points needed, starting from May this year at the Indonesia Open. You have to work very hard, and I'm sure everyone wants to be there. I want to compete there again and hopefully get a medal.
Dan bisa dapat medali di sana.
These are crucial times for Indonesia's women's singles players as they seek to reclaim credibility in the game. But as long as they have Adrian Ferari fighting for the cause, the turnaround will continue to inch closer. It's time for some trivia. The Hawkeye Instant Review System was first introduced at the 2013 BWF World Superseries Finals in Kuala Lumpur. Name the first player to use it. We give you the answer after the break. After the break, we report on how Badminton Canada is using its stars to raise the profile of badminton. Earlier, we asked you who was the first player to use the Hawkeye Instant Review System when it was first introduced at the 2013 BWF World Superseries Finals. The answer is Lee Chong-wei. The Malaysian was the first to challenge a line call using the instant review technology in Kuala Lumpur. The system used in BWF World Superseries tournaments and at BWF major events has helped ensure accuracy in line calls. It gives players an extra layer of security. Covering 9.98 million square meters, Canada is the second largest country on Earth in terms of landmass. Situated in the northern part of North America, it extends from the Atlantic to the Pacific and northward into the Arctic Ocean. Known for its pristine nature, maple syrup and well-mannered people, this multicultural nation is highly regarded around the world. With her cool climates, winter sports are favored, with ice hockey at the very top of the list.
The number one sport would be hockey. We are very entrenched in hockey. So as a good comparison, hockey is to Canada what badminton is in some of the big Asian countries.
As an indoor sport, badminton is ideal for the colder climes of the country, and it is very popular at the recreational level. However, as a professional sport, it ranks poorly.
You know, unfortunately, we're a minor sport in Canada, but a big participation sport. It is a school, it's a school core sport, so anybody that you ask if they've played badminton in Canada, the vast majority have. A lot of people participate, but in terms of a competitive sport, you know, we would be in the middle of the pack.
Badminton Unlimited caught up with Team Canada when they were in China recently for the Sudirman Cup. They were keen to tell us their plans to raise interest in the sport in their country. Unlike most teams where there is a training base for the national players, Badminton Canada does not have one.
So we have a decentralized model. There isn't a centralized training center because Everybody is coming from individual clubs. They're coming from all over, all over Canada. All of the players do not get together. There is no central place that everybody trains. So they do get together for tours like Sudirman Cup or Pan Am Games or Commonwealth. We also do some national team camps that bring people together. But in general, everybody trains in their own individual locality with their own coaches, coming together for competitions.
Most of the national players come from the provinces of British Columbia, located on the west coast, and Ontario in the east-central parts of the country. For players like mixed doubles shuttler Toby Ung, who are based in Vancouver, getting together with teammates from the eastern parts has proved to be difficult in such a vast nation.
We're so big, right? So like even if I want to fly to Toronto, it's like a five-hour flight. So it's just kind of like it's difficult. So, but I guess that's one of the difficulties of Canada because it's just so big.
The geographic location of the country also presents its challenges. While the BWF International Circuit has multiple tournaments in Asia and Europe, North America suffers in comparison.
There aren't a lot of major events in North America, so any place we go to is a far way away, right? Because we're separated by two oceans. So we're either going to go over the Pacific or over the Atlantic. So either way, that makes for a long haul. It's not like being in Europe and being able to hop around to tournaments.
Despite the challenges, Canada is one of the top sides in the region. Traditionally a badminton powerhouse at the Pan Am Games, Canada bagged 3 gold, 1 silver and a bronze at the multi-sport event in Mexico 4 years ago.
Certainly in terms of results, the current squad is doing very, very well. We're one of the strong teams. I mean, there's always a few players from all over the place. I mean, Cuba has a very strong player. The U.S. has some strong players. Brazil has some strong players. But overall, as a strength, I would say that Canada is among the top for sure.
Women's singles shuttler Michelle Lee is the most successful Canadian player on the international scene. As the reigning Commonwealth Games gold medalist and currently 15th in the world rankings, Badminton Canada is using her global success to promote the sport, making the ace shuttler the poster girl for badminton in Canada.
I have to bring attention to the sport, and I think that comes with results. That's why I fight so hard to try and win tournaments and put so much time and effort into the sport. It's also like a good feeling myself too, because like I'm finally putting Canada on the map.
With the 2015 Pan Am Games to be held in Toronto this July, Badminton Canada hopes to use the event as a platform to showcase the country's badminton talents and generate national interest through their performances.
In 2015, of course, we have the Pan Am Games, so it's to have, as many medals as we can and as many of those to be gold.
With the badminton matches to be held at the newly built Atos Pan Am Centre in Markham, Lee's hometown in Greater Toronto, the shuttler is determined to defend the women's singles title she won 4 years ago in Mexico.
It's at home, so I definitely want to win the gold medal. It's really nice to know that in Markham, the badminton community is growing a lot. And because the Pan Am Games is going to be in Markham, that helps it so much.
Badminton Canada is hopeful Canadians will take notice during the Games. And if Michelle Lee and her teammates can have a good showing in Toronto, it will go a long way in raising the profile and growing the sport in Canada. Last week, the Grand Prix Gold Circuit made a pit stop in New York for the 2015 Yonex Suffolk Community College US Open. Finals day began with women's singles as Japan's Nozomi Okuhara took on compatriot Sayaka Sato. World number 10 Okuhara was hoping for a repeat of her title-winning form against Sato last November. The 20-year-old triumphed at Jeonju Victor Korea Grand Prix, overcoming Sato in the final. She was on the winning side of the net once again in 54 minutes. The Yonex Sunrise Malaysia Masters champion clinched her second gold for the year in 2 games, 21-16, 21-14. It was the mixed doubles final next. China's Huang Kaixiang and Huang Dongping went up against the number 2 seeds from Hong Kong, Lee Chunhei and Chao Hui-Hua. The Chinese pair had already sent #1 seeds Michael Fuchs and Birgit Mitchells packing the day before and were feeling confident against the star Australian Open champions. Right from the off, they dominated, winning their first title together with the final score 21-15, 21-14. Up next was the matchup between China's Yu Yang and Zhong Qianxin against Japan's Ayane Kurihara and Naru Shinoya in the women's doubles final. Yu, who had previously dominated the scene with Wang Xiaoli, was looking to use her big match experience with new partner Zhong. It worked a treat. After some hard-fought exchanges in the opening few points, Yu and Zhong bulldozed their way to the title. Final score 21-14, 21-10. All eyes were on the men's singles final next as former world #1 Lee Chong-wei faced Denmark's Hans Christian Vittinghus. It was more than a year ago that Lee had last tasted success, and the Malaysian was eager to put his career back on track against the Danish world #18. After clinching a tight first game, Lee's confidence grew in the second, and Vittinghus, try as he might, struggled. Match point and title to Lee with the final score 22-20, 21-12. The concluding men's doubles final saw China's Li Junhui and Liu Yucheng taking on India's Manu Attri and B. Sumit Reddy. The Indians, who were making their first appearance in a major final, had a massive task before them. They were facing the Bonnie China Masters champions, who were hungry for more. It was all over in 32 minutes. Attri and Sumit Reddy had to be satisfied with a runners-up finish. Junhui and Yucheng defeated them in 2 games, 21-12, 21-16. With the season at the halfway point, it's time to take a look at the BWF World Rankings. This week, we focus on Thailand's women's singles heroine Ratchanok Intanon, who has been proving herself once again at the top. The Thai shuttler made a comeback at the Yonex Sunrise India Open with a runner-up spot after her Yonex All England Open quarter-final match ended prematurely due to injury. A month later, she became the first ever Thai singles player to be crowned champion at the Dongfeng Sichuan Badminton Asia Championships. There was no stopping the former world champion as she clinched her first World Superseries title for the year at the BCA Indonesia Open, catapulting her to #3 in the rankings. The 20-year-old is just behind India's Saina Nehwal and current world champion Carolina Marin. Don't forget, the BWF World Rankings are updated every Thursday. So log on to www.bwfbadminton.org for the latest information and stats. After the break, we find out more about Chinese Taipei's rising talent, Lu Chia-hung. This week's Player of the Week is Malaysia's men's singles player, Lee Chong-wei. The former world #1 clinched his first title in over a year at the recent Yonex Suffolk County Community College US Open. Despite just returning to competitive badminton last month, Lee showed little signs of rust in the final as he defeated Hans Christian Vittinghus in straight games. The latest triumph is a timely boost for the Perak-born shuttler as he looks to close in for a spot at next year's Olympics. This week's One for the Future, Badminton Unlimited brings you a promising young talent from Chinese Taipei. Ranked inside the world's top 20 junior shuttlers in men's singles, Lu Chia-hung is seen as one of the country's future stars. Together with 18-year-old Li Chia-sin, whom we showcased last year, Lu was selected to represent the country at the 2014 Nanjing Youth Olympics. That same year, the right-hander won his first international tournament in New Zealand at the Fernbaby Auckland International in men's singles.
In
New Zealand, I won my first international championship, which left a very deep impression on me. I've played in many tournaments, but I've never won until then. I was the #1 seed and in good form, so I was pleased to win.
Born in Xindian in Taipei, the teenager comes from a family of shuttlers. Although his sister retired from the game due to injury, his brother is still on the scene. Currently training in Kaohsiung with AP EasyGo Badminton Club, we caught up with Lu during his break as he opened up about his hopes and dreams on becoming the country's next top men's singles player.
I think I stand a very good chance in dominating the men's singles category in Taiwan, but I still need to put in a lot more effort, as I know it's not easy.
In recent years, Chinese Taipei has seen the emergence of world-class players. In the men's category, 2014 French Open winner Chou Tianchen and doubles duo Li Shengmu and Tai Qiaoxin are amongst the world's top 10. But there is an urgent need to keep the pool of talent growing.
Taiwan badminton has certainly improved. The men's doubles are competing well internationally. As for the men's singles, only 1 or 2 players are doing well. So our hope is on Chia Hung.
With badminton running in his veins, Lu has been collecting medals since his primary school days. But it was nothing compared to the honor of representing his country for the first time, where he won gold in the men's singles and silver in the men's and mixed doubles.
When I was in secondary 3, I played at the Youth Championship Games in Scotland. I experienced what it was like to represent your country. I felt very proud and honored. To be able to play for your country is very important. That is my goal. To this very day, whenever I play for my country.
Lu arrived in Kaohsiung 2 years ago to study in their local high school and to further pursue badminton. Being a 16-year-old then and an introvert, he learned to adapt to his new environment.
When I got to Kaohsiung, I had to count on myself for everything, but I learned to be independent. In the future, I'll be going abroad often, so it's good to learn independence early.
His natural talent and favorable results in the domestic and overseas tournaments earned him a place in the 2014 Youth Olympics in Nanjing. And together with his victories in Auckland and the Vietnam International Series, Lu is slowly but surely adjusting to the senior circuit. But the young shuttler knows that the only way to reach the top is to keep working on his game and improving himself.
My attack is not little enough. If I meet better or more skillful players, they won't feel threatened. It will be very hard for me as I'm not able to finish them off. I would need to continue to play many shots, hoping to win a point, and that will drain my physical strength.
He needs to be more powerful to play in international tournaments. Normally he's too gentle, so I want to correct him on his smashes and his playing strategy.
The right-hander's determination to pursue the sport and to make it in the world of badminton has seen him also setting targets for himself.
My short-term goal has got to do with the rankings in Taiwan. Hopefully, I can get into the top 4 or the first or second. That would be so much better. My long-term goal is to work towards qualifying for the 2020 Tokyo Olympics. I'm giving myself about 2 to 3 years, and I hope I will be in the top 15 in the world rankings.
Lu Chia-hung, 18 years old and has the whole world ahead of him. His name may not yet be widely known on the international scene, but with quiet determination and steely ambition, Chinese Taipei may have a future star in their midst. Let's find out what's happening on the international circuit in our Badminton Unlimited calendar. Next week on Badminton Unlimited, we find out about the development of badminton in Brazil, and we report on the European Club Championships in France. See you next week.